You ever just jumped into a lobby and completely forgotten that you had in fact clicked competitive? Yeah, so that's what happened here. And I was feeling rather feisty when this map loaded in. I don't know like if this ever happened to you guys or anybody before, but you just really feel like a certain character and then you actually like get to play it and it works out. So right here I'm playing as Widow on console. This is pretty low plats and I mean for console it's Xbox, so like there's a lot of like discrepancy in like the community with this kind of stuff. Nobody's really gonna watch this, and it kind of makes me wonder like what could this game be if like the fan base wasn't so like PC or die. I mean, I get it, a lot of the competitive stuff is in fact PC, and then there's always like these people that are uploading console videos. Ooh, those shots there. But I was rather proud of this, like what came out of this, considering I completely forgot this was competitive until round 2. I'm just sitting here trying to play as Kefri. Not like I don't know how to word this to where I don't sound really stupid. But like kind of like what would Kefri do without like being him. Like I'm fully aware that this is console and I can't take like super awesome 360 spin shot things or whatever, even though like some people do get away with it. But what I'm meaning here is that like it was just cool for once for me to like be able to play as this character that in console is like triggers a lot of people really fast, especially these low ranking players, because whenever you select it, it's as if these people think that like you're automatically throwing and giving up, and it's like, what if this was really like your main and you're genuinely good with it? You could never climb anywhere because there's all these people that immediately once you've clicked it are just so angry beyond point to where they think that, alright, so now I shouldn't try as hard, when it's the opposite. You're just trying to do your best with a character that for a given moment it should work out. So like right here I'm doing is I got caught shooting at the Torb again, which like it's the play the enemy team had to make. I kind of got out of place by going back to the same place that I picked them off from last time.
My ultimate is ready.
And earlier I felt like it was a pretty good play for me to take out that Torb early on. Normally when you see the Torb there, you kind of want to shoot for the Torb first. But what I mean by like playing air quotes here as Kefri is notice how I don't try to get into the engagement. I'm using Widow's kit for what it is, and I'm trying to use these distance fights, with the exception of this Sombra fight that I got into here. So like right here, as my team is pushing into the point, I'm still hanging back and I'm just picking them off from back here. And the only character that manages to figure this out is way too late, and it's their they switch to a Tracer at some point, and this Tracer spawns out the first time, doesn't realize how big of a threat I am right here, because the enemy team wants our team off this point so bad that they're distracted. And here I am back here flailing shots. And what I've learned from Kefri that I see a lot of people do when they pick Widow, at least on console, I don't know, I assume it's the same thing on PC, because while the inputs and everything is different and maybe the aiming could be better on PC, the way you should roughly be able to play your character should be the same. And that's whenever there's like a wall of some sort, like a barrier or shield, you don't shoot into that. Instead you look for little tight spaces to get a pick. And that's what I incorporated into this game here that I foolishly thought was quick play. And yeah, this is where that Tracer finally decided that she should come over and pick on me. But unfortunately for her, it was too late. She needed to be with her team, trying to take us off the point, and that's how we got away with the first round. The second round, now that I realized that this is quick play, I took a look at our team and ended up switching to Zen. And from this point on, I wanted to discuss real quickly. I'm not really going to talk much more about the gameplay, I'm just going to let it go. But I want to talk about like the community and the word toxic and kind of what I think it means, and things that you can do to I'm sorry, I'm trying to think of the word here. So I guess reduce it or extinguish some of it. The first thing is, if you're angry, you should probably step away from the game. The game is not a good game to play when you're angry, because then that means that you are not thinking clearly, and in this game you have to think clearly the entire time. You can't let's say lower your guard or whatever most of the time, unless you have like, you know, a good team or whatever. Then you can kind of get away with a little bit of anger, but that's still you still run into that chance to where you're not going to be doing as good as you could have been had you played with a clear mind. But that can be easier said than done. Sometimes you just really feel like that this game, like, it can loosen you up or whatever, it can distract you from whatever has made you angry, or if this game has made you angry, then you should definitely stop playing it. But going beyond that and into, like, when you run into, I'm going to put quotes here, toxic people, these are just people that feel really burned by other people that they have probably played with and talked to in the chat. I know in this game here, nobody talked in chat, but still, even if they did, I feel like I probably would have gotten a lot of slack at the beginning for picking Widow, and you'll get those normal people. I like to call them ragers or whatever, because it seems like whenever you pick a character like Widow, there's always those ones like, oh, that's what we're going with, you know? It's kind of like when you see a Hanzo, or you see just a character that you don't think is ideal for the situation, you automatically think the person sucks or is throwing, when that's not the case, especially below Masters. When you're below Masters, it's not even really worth thinking that somebody would be intentionally throwing when they're doing a genuine pick. Maybe sometimes people, like, they just don't know the exact pick for the case, and you could suggest things. And I feel like that would always help if instead you didn't make it seem mandatory. You made it seem more like, hey, instead of, you know, picking this character for this situation, it might go better for our team and our composition if this were to, you know, take place. I know lots of times, because I'm Plat player and I've kind of been in Plat for like the last 3 seasons, and it just seems like a lot of people like just gets like, oh, it can drive you crazy too. Even like the people that are generally trying to play this game and have fun, when somebody starts spazzing out and they're yelling things constantly, and then they begin to think that the reason they are losing is because of their team. That seems like the first thing those ragers always think of when people tend to get angry is, hey, we're losing, so it's not my fault, obviously, and it's my teammates' fault. When sometimes you just get those matches to where the enemy team simply, they're just better at you mechanically, and they're working together. I feel like a lot of times that's how you end up losing matches, in fact, is when you get those enemy teams to where they know how to coordinate, and then they know how to handle themselves in the game. And so I always just find it wild that you'll get those people and they're just yelling the entire time, and it makes it harder for people that aren't listening, or listening and, you know, yelling, because then you can't hear what's going on, and instead of you focusing on how this game is going, you're listening to this guy yell at you for the entire match, so now you're starting to get a little angry because this guy won't stop. And so the first thing I would recommend you do is say like, hey man, I get that you're angry. You should probably. I mean, I guess that's the hard part. Is I'm not really sure how to deal with the situation outside of muting them, really, because if you try to tell them like, hey, you should like try to calm down, man, everything's alright, you're just playing a video game, like it's really not that bad. Normally that won't take away some of their frustrations here. When you tell them, trying to think what else I always try to tell them whenever they start yelling out. You can tell them like, what's going on? Why are you so mad? And half the time they won't even have a valid excuse. You know, you can ask them a bunch of things, but really, I think at the end of the day, the best solution is to probably mute them, or maybe tell them after this match to take a break. If they rage quit, then that's fine, because half the time, I'm gonna say half because I've came through with games with those raging people before and actually won them, but half the time these people will get mad and they'll just leave the match, like, alright, I'll take a break right now, you know, and they'll leave the game, which, like, that might work, or, like I said, they still might sit there and yell. So out of this, the thing I wanted to say is I want to find the more bright people in the community, the people here that are playing this game and they're not yelling in the mic about their team comp every single 5 seconds, because the game is meant to have many heroes and different combinations, and crazy things happen all the time, and I find the game so much fun, and I hope that with my Overwatch related videos that I'll be uploading to this channel, you guys will also have fun, because I'm also having fun, and you guys have fun, and we're all having fun times, okay? That's kind of the point I wanted to work at towards the end of this video, and what I wanted to turn this video into. Hopefully you guys can agree that Widow gameplay was at least worthy of uploading and hopefully watching, because this is console and it's not like amazing shots happen every day to where you pick off the Mai 2 times in the first fight, and then from there, like, you're able to keep the enemy team, you know, harass the entire second point while your team is up there, you know, in their face doing work. So yeah, if you agree with me, or hopefully there are people watching this, if you agree with me and there are people watching this, then push the like button. I know normally I don't really like to demand for likes, but I just like to know, like, who's out there in this community that feels like it gets kind of redundant to always hear people yelling at you and telling you, oh, blah blah blah, this team comp's bad, team's trash, DPS does nothing, shields just run out there, Genji deflects, dashes, and dies, and, you know. It's nice to have a lot of hope when you play, because it really sucks when you get those hopeless players. So, I guess thanks for watching, have a nice day, and if you're really feeling it, you know, push that subscribe button and come back. Thank you.